I understand this is a split call from the Labour Party. Lewis Award.
Tēnā koe te mangai o te whare. Nō reira toku tika ki te kōrero I runga I te Social Security Extension of Young Person Services and Remedial Matters Amendment Bill. Ri te reipa tamarikitanga mangai. So I am the Labour spokesperson for Youth Affairs. Mahi Pākeke tēnei piri. Labour opposes this bill, Mr Speaker. And we do so because from our perspective the intent of this bill is all wrong. And I'd like to quote, "One of the government's priority results for better public services is to reduce long-term welfare dependence. In February 2015, the government set the following target for this result area. By June 2018, a 25% from 295,000 people in June 2014 in the total number of people receiving main benefits and a $13 billion reduction in the long-term cost of benefit dependence as measured by an accumulated accrual release." So from our perspective, children are not at the heart of this piece of legislation, in spite of what the Minister and her government says. What is at the heart of this piece of legislation is saving $13 billion. That's the driving force behind that better public service target, and other people may want to debate that, but if you truly did want to put children at the centre of policy, then you would find this side of the House 100% in support of any initiative that you proposed, 100% supportive. So when you look at pieces of research like the negative effects of instability on child development, a research synthesis by the Urban Institute that was released in September 2013, if the Minister had read this piece of research, what it says is that obstacles for our tamarikis' healthy development are about the instabilities in their lives. The most important factor actually is having stable accommodation. Let's make sure all of our children have a home, Minister. Let's make sure all of our children have a home that their parents can provide for them. Let's make sure that all of our parents have access to parental courses that are going to enable them to be the best possible parents that they can be. That's not what this piece of legislation is committing to or will provide for our most disadvantaged families. And Kay Brereton from the Beneficiary Advocacy Federation highlighted that through the select committee process of this legislation. We also heard from the Salvation Army, the Human Rights Commission and the Attorney General themselves that said that this government was actively discriminating against 18 and 19-year-old citizens. So for the government to say that at the heart of everything that they do are children is actually factually incorrect based on submissions that we had from a number of parties. So if we want to work alongside our children, and we heard from my colleague Jan Logie earlier, then the empowerment model that we would use is not punitive. We wouldn't be penalising our young parents who don't want to leave their babies who are 6 months old, because that's what this piece of legislation forces our young parents to do, to leave their 6-month-old babies and seek full-time either study or work-based training opportunities. What I say to this Minister and that government is, what about that 6-month-old baby? What if we put that 6-month-old baby at the heart of this piece of legislation? What would we do? We would make sure that that 6-month-old baby had a home. So if this government said every child who has a child is going to have secure accommodation and those children are going to be looked after, that their parents will be entitled to every single piece of support that they're eligible to, that we're not going to put ceilings on them. So not say we'll only support your education if you can get to NCA level 2, but actually if we fully and totally supported them to have dreams and aspirations, then this side of the House would be voting in support of this piece of legislation. But that is not what this piece of legislation is doing. That's not the intent of this piece of legislation, and some people on the other side need to read your Better Public Services targets, because all of the targets are about money. It's all about saving money for the government so that next year you can give, big tax cuts to New Zealanders that don't need them because you don't want to provide services to those who are most in need. So I'm really proud to stand on this side of the House that puts children at the centre of what we do. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Porter Williams.